good of a feeling is that for Carlos with everything he's been to and the way that he competed for you guys this spring?
There's an old saying, there's not a lot of justice in this game, but every once in a while, and what he did, sign late with us, just asked for an opportunity to compete, won the spot. The other day in Seattle, he gave us a lift, and against the club that's in first place in our division, it's a no-hitter. So, all the work he put in, I tell you, can't give enough credit to Zach. I mean, I'm there trying to think along with him, and he was just brilliant. They were together all night long, but also Ethan. Ethan did a lot of work with him to get him ready. So what a thrill for him. Team played defense, they scored runs. I mean, it was just it's a great night. But Carlos in particular, I mean, he was very determined. He never really got tight. I mean, everything had the same life, made the same pitches. He's proved to me that he's a finisher. It's a really good thing for his future and ours.
What was it about the work that he did with Ethan this spring and even during the offseason that really kind of transformed his game?
What I would give you is just half of, even a quarter of what the substance was. I'm sure Ethan will be here to talk about it. I just know that they got together as soon as he signed with us, and they started, working on the process, talking and exchanging looks, and brought it into spring training. So it's much better if both of them talk about it than if I did. I just give them credit.
Chair raised out.
Tony, what was it like in the dugout during the game, and how comforting was it having fans there to see this no-hitter where they didn't get to see Lucas's last year?
It's like the difference is why we play the game. I mean, you play because you want to entertain fans, and they were into it. I mean, I think right away, our offense jumped a really good pitcher early, and that got them going. And then as it developed, I'm not sure exactly when, maybe after the fifth or something, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But I mean, they were into it at least the last half of the game, and that made it more exciting.
How easy was it for you managing him, knowing he was at a good pace, that you didn't have to worry about the pitch count because he was really on target?
Yeah, I was spectating as hard as I could. Believe me, it wasn't. The only thing you worry about early, I mean, is he going to run into a tough stretch where you can see it start to labor, and sometimes you labor and you still got the 0 on the board, but that never happened.
James Vegan.
Tony, with Carlos getting scratched 2 days ago, how soon did you know that he'd even be able to go tonight, and how did you see him kind of I guess get his strength back over the course of the week that something like this is even possible?
Yeah, here again, best to ask him. I was talk to our trainer James, but the next day after, I mean, if we had to, he said, if you want me to, I'll go out there. But he just, you tell, he's pale, and Dallas stepped up. Think about that, the two significance for him, helping us win the first game of the series and today. But the day after, he was feeling better, regaining some strength. And then this morning, there was no doubt that he was going to pitch. So, it's fast. And that's kind of what we're hoping for Dylan too, just maybe a 24-hour little flu.
Scott American.
Tony, in that ninth inning, what goes through your mind when Jose Abreu fields that ball that Naylor, dropped out there? And also what goes through your mind when that ball hits Roberto Perez in the top of his foot there?
Well, the first one, I mean, all night long, if you look at it, the 7, 8 guys were some of the toughest outs. Naylor hit a line drive. Perez hit the ball in the nose twice. But, he hustled on the line, and I enjoy competitors. And here was the end of the game, and that guy just competing and didn't want his team to get no hit. That's the way the game's supposed to be played, and he hustled and dove into the bag. But you had the other champion there at first base that knew exactly what was at stake and made the play. He came and got it and made a slide. So it was great competitiveness all around. And then from our side, it's what to kind of support that that Carlos had earned and deserved.
You mentioned Zach Collins. I mean, he came to camp and seemed like he had a different confidence about himself this year, that he believed not only that he belonged, but that he could excel. And have you seen that from him once the regular season began too?
Well, I'm just watching for the first time. I watched film before he came to camp. I did see him in January there early. He was very serious about, he was catching guys that were there rehabbing or whatever. He was working with Yaz in the cage on just techniques and fundamentals. This is like January and early February. So, and with our organization, not experts, but the guys that know him best, I'm talking about, Doug and Johnny Orton and, Kenny, Rick, guys like that, Chris Getz. This was the first camp that he probably believed that he could earn his way on the club. And he took the bit by the teeth, but now that's what they told me. And that's the way he looked like I'm going to win this job. And he did it with his bat and with his glove and with his thinking. He's been very impressive the way he takes all the information that he gets and then he works the game plan. So today, the other thing before the game, I told him, if we pitched a shutout, he could have my office. And I thought in the excitement, he forgot when he walked by. He said, "Just clear out. I'm in there." I said, "Well," I said, "but you got a no hitter." That kind of kills the bet. Last thing I heard was Rob was moving my things in his locker, so I'm glad to give it up.
Bruce Levine.
Tony, how many no hitters is this for you? And as far as the dominance of what you saw, how did maybe that compare? I know you're not a big comparing guy, but and certainly Carlos deserves his day in the sun. But what was this like for you going through it?
I'd have to sit back and think because I've been on both sides of them. But 1984 here with the White Sox, remember Jack Morris shut us out. That was horrific. I'd have to count them. We've had some. We had Bud Smith, and I don't know. I don't know if you're asking just the ones we celebrate, the ones that we participate.
Well, I mean, 5,000 games. These are up there in the special group here, I guess. So, how special was this one for you?
I got to stop and think about it. The best one's always the last one.
Vinny.
Tony, last year before the season even started, Carlos told us that, he was kind of out to prove something, that he wanted to prove something about, not being able to stay healthy and not pitching the way he's wanted to pitch. What in the first two outings that he's had this season, which have both been very good, this one obviously very special, has he proven to you this year?
Well, I'm going to answer it in two parts. What he's proven, that's why he got the ball, was that he had become at least a 3-pitch pitcher this year. That's what we're evaluating this year. And it's probably more than 3 because he's doing a couple of things with his fastball. He's throwing change, but these guys always had a slider. And that's why you're in the spot. And then that game in Seattle, we had a tough weekend there in Anaheim. So that was big. So what he's proven is that he's got it. Now what he has to prove, and that's the secret in this league. I don't have to make it secret, but it's one of the realities is it's always what's next. And he has to understand that what he's accomplished, but what's ahead, not lose an edge. And the way he's been going about it since day one, I think he'll pitch. He's pitching Monday against the Red Sox. I bet you he'd be ready for it. But that the mind, if we ever talk a lot, you'll hear me say it. Everything comes down to where you are mentally. Mentally, if it gets in your way, you struggle, you slump, whatever. But if you celebrate too much, you lose an edge. If you gain the confidence of what he's doing, then you just get better and just get hungrier. And that's what he has to prove. And I bet on him.